Every episode celebrates original content written by real people who experience real emotions. I'm Rayanne Thorn Krueger. Welcome to Real Words. This is episode 9 of the ECT series. I'm really enjoying this series. I am talking to each of the actors that gets to perform in the production of White Rabbit, Red Rabbit. If you've never heard of it or don't know anything about it, that's the way it's supposed to be. No one knows anything about it, not even the actors that are performing in it. They do not get to hear anything about it until the night they perform. They are handed a script right before they walk on stage, and it's no set, no director, just read and go. And my guest today will be performing on closing night, March 5th, with Electric Company Theater, which is the resident theater company at the Muckenthaler Cultural Arts Center. Jose Orozco, thanks for joining me today. Wow. Are you excited about this?
I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm very, very excited.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be an actor?
Okay. So I was born and raised Orange, California, my whole life. People will say, "Where are you from? Where do you live?" And I'll say Orange, and they'll say, "Yeah, Orange County, but what city?" And I'm like, "No, this the city of Orange. That's
The
what, yeah,
city of
that's
Orange.
what it is." And people are like, "What?" Like it's so weird to them for some reason, even though it's like Riverside County, there's Riverside. Like I don't know. I thought it was pretty normal.
Right.
Um, yeah, so pretty suburban area my whole life. Um, and then I got into theater pretty late, not till college. So I went to community college first. I went to Fullerton College, and that was like the first time I even really stepped out of like my hometown even. And it's only like two cities over. It's not that far, but
Right.
it was a big jump, I guess. Um, and so I took some theater classes there because I had friends who were going to the same school
Okay.
and they like theater. And so I was like, oh, we can all have at least a class together, you know. I can know someone. College, it's kind of scary. And so I signed up for the beginning acting class, and none of my other friends signed up. I was the only one who signed up.
Oh my
And so I was like,
gosh.
oh, yeah, I couldn't believe it. And I wasn't
Oh.
even, I was like the least into it, you know? So I thought, okay, well, this could still be fun. Like I'll take the class and I'll finish it out, but we'll see. And then for the class, you have to go watch the performances. It's like a requirement.
Right.
And so we went and like I had this preconceived notion of theater already where I was always really into movies. I've always been like a big film fan. Um, and like plays and stuff, I always thought like I had this corny idea of plays, like, oh, it's just like, very frou-frou, period piece, like, kind of boring.
Right.
And so I went to go see Pride and Prejudice. That was the first show, and it's so
Wow.
silly because I'm like exactly what I thought, right? I was like, wow, a period piece. They're in England. It was cool. I actually enjoyed it. It was really cool, but I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought. But then they did another show in in their black box theater, so it was like a
Right.
smaller, more intimate space, and it was called Equus, and that
Oh.
show was crazy. I was like, my world was rocked. I had no idea. Um, the stage was like in the round, so the audience was sitting around, and it was like this square in the middle, and it could spin, but it wasn't like automated. So what they would do is they cast these giant like 6 foot plus like big dudes, and then they put them on like stilts, so they were even more massive, very
Wow.
like muscular dudes. Yeah, and then they put these like wrought iron horse heads on them because like the plot revolves around like this incident with this kid, and he like blinds these horses, and they're trying to figure out why did this happen, what happened. The play's framed around it's like his therapy sessions, and so
Okay.
his therapist is asking him these questions, and he's like reliving what happened. And so the horses are portrayed by these guys, these massive, massive dudes. And they come out and they have these rods, and they would stick the rod into each corner of the square, and then they would just spin it, and you could hear the whoa. And it was just so crazy. It was like a heartbeat almost, and you're like in this
Right.
space. So it was just this really almost hypnotic thing. And sometimes the actors would be on there, and so they're spinning, and the actors are on there, and they're like delivering these lines. And there's like full nudity in it, like full frontal
Right,
nudity, like which
right,
was totally new to me too. So I was just blown away. I was like, this is the exact opposite of everything I've ever thought.
right.
Like I didn't even know you could do this. I didn't even know this was an option. So it was crazy. And so I thought, okay, I gotta find more stuff like this. Like this is a whole other world that I didn't even know existed. And
That's
so that kind of
wonderful.
got me going. Yeah, yeah, that kind of got me going. And so just from doing the classes and learning more and getting exposed to more stuff, I kind of fell into it.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm happy you did, and I'm sure ECT is happy as well. So let's talk a little bit about this production. It was written by Nassim Soleimanpour, who is an Iranian playwright, and he wrote it during a time when he was forbidden to leave his home country and his city. And so many things happened to him that he wrote. I haven't seen it and I don't know the plot, but he's written this piece that is so unusual that requires the actor to not know what's going to happen. And so this is either really scary for the actors that I've spoken with, or they cannot wait because it removes so much pressure. There's no prep time, right? You don't have to spend any time memorizing anything or go to costume fittings or go to rehearsals. There's no prep time. You just show up and go. It's a show and go production. So why say yes to this?
Uh, the challenge, the challenge of it, but I guess it's funny that you say that because everyone I've talked to has only been worried. I
Really?
yeah, but they're all non-actors to be fair. I think
Okay.
maybe like one or two
Okay.
friends who act and they're like, but even they were like, "Whoa, I would not want to do that."
Right.
Um, like I haven't met anyone who's like, "Ooh," which is weird because that was my immediate reaction when they released kind of what was going
Right.
on.
Right.
And I looked at it for the first time and saw what they were kind of conceptualizing and what the show was. And I just immediately thought, what? That sounds cool. Like that sounds like
Yeah.
so much fun. And because
So much
it's kind of a
vulnerability,
challenge.
right?
Yeah,
So much
absolutely.
vulnerability for you as an actor because you have no idea if it's a comedy, if it's a drama, if it's a tragedy, if you have to sing, if you have to stand on a chair. I mean, you have no idea what's coming your way. And so you have to just be so vulnerable and open and willing to slow down, right? When we read something or we read a script, we speed through it. We sometimes ignore stage directions, right? But it's going to be imperative that you read every part of this. So is there any type of prep that you're doing for this? Or is it just going to be I'm going to be okay. I'm going to chant to myself before I go on stage. I'm going to keep my heart rate low. I mean, what kind of prep are you doing?
Honestly, it might sound horrible. Not really. But I feel like it's because the one instruction I got was don't learn anything about this show.
Right.
Don't look it up. You know, they said this is supposed to be cold. So to me, something about the show, something about the script is meant to elicit something
An
that can
immediate
only
response,
happen
right?
right, that can
An
only happen immediately. Yeah,
organic
exactly.
immediate response, right? Great. Wow.
Absolutely. And so I feel like if I just go in and just do it, I feel like because I'm in a place where I'm comfortable enough doing it, that it can be cool. It can be a success. You know, I'm not going in like, what am I gonna do? What's gonna happen?
Right.
You know, I'm confident that it should be good. I guess it's a confidence in the playwright because I don't know. I wouldn't put something out if I was like, this is good enough that no one needs to know anything about it, and they
Right.
can just go up there and do it, and it's gonna be awesome. I don't
Also,
know
I
if
think
that's
you have, because you've done previous productions with Electric Company Theater and had Brian or Callie as a director, you must have confidence in them.
100%. Yeah, this isn't
Right.
the first time that they've asked me to do something super
Right.
crazy and wild. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, it's almost um something I look forward to is like the new round of shows and like what are they going to come up with this time?
Right.
And how are they going to, you know, maybe they'll pick a classic, but it's not going to be classically done. They're going to do something
Right.
different. They're going to do try and innovate it somehow. And that's always kind of a fun little surprise is to see what they're thinking for the season. And so yeah, no, they asked me to do like it was like a one-man show, um, that was like interactive, um, which I had never done before. Either of those things. I've never done one-man show. I've never done interactive anything. And so it was like we're gonna come up with it, we're gonna develop it, and that was cool. That was very daunting, but they were really great, and they were giving me, because they've done it a bunch, so they were giving me like tips on kind of how to go about it. And I think the best tip they gave me was to focus on like the senses. So come up with things that can kind of evoke something in the senses, or that makes them use their senses. So like at one point I had them singing with me, like if they went along with it. I hid like fruit snacks places, and I'd pop out a fruit and be, and I'd offer them a fruit snack for like taste, like because I was just racking my brain. And that kind of helped me put me on a path, because I really had no idea what I was going to do. And then they kind of gave me those tips, and I immediately started coming up with more ideas. So
That's amazing.
I feel very confident. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's good. Jose is performing on March 5th, closing night of this production, 7 p.m. If you would like to get tickets, and we hope you will, we hope that you will come to Fullerton and see Jose perform on March 5th. You can get tickets at electriccompanytheater.org. There's a button right when you go to that site that says purchase tickets. You can see the production that he's in. Just scroll down to the bottom, the very last show. Only one actor per night, only one actor performing one time. So, Jose, before we get away, tell us a little bit about what you do during the day.
So I actually just started a new job. So before
Great.
this I was, yeah, so I was a barista for like 10 years doing coffee. And then the last coffee place I worked at, I was also like doing delivery
Okay.
for them, driving their van. And but recently I went back to school. I want to try and become a social worker. And so
Wonderful.
yeah, thank you. And so I got a job as a behavior interventionist, so working with kids, trying to like help them with problematic behavior and to kind of develop better life skills and things like that. Just because I felt like it was more in line with kind
Yeah,
of the career I want to get into, and
right.
it would be good experience for that.
One of the questions I like to ask is, do you utilize theater or your experiences in theater in your work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mostly just with, so like before it was a lot of customer service, so it was very easy to kind of just like engage with the
Hey,
audience member. Yeah,
perform
yeah,
with
that's
your
kind of how I thought
audience.
of it.
Right, right.
Exactly, exactly. I was like performing, and I was trying to like do good for them that way. But now I think I'm kind of gonna tap in more into, so I'm an uncle, and I have like a
Okay.
bunch of nieces and nephews, and I've been an uncle since I was like 5 years old, because
Oh,
I'm the
wow.
youngest.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I'm gonna have to lock into maybe that side a little more, and the patience that's gonna have to come
Right,
along with
right.
working with kids, and just like taking things step by step and just going at their pace and things like that. Um, so I really feel like that's gonna be more the key. But in terms of theater, I guess I never really thought about it. That's a good, I guess probably the same in terms of like engaging with the audience member, because I have to
Sure.
keep them entertained, or they're not going to listen to me. They're just
Right.
gonna
Well, I
they're not going
find
to want to
it
run.
fascinating that you were so taken by Equus, and now your work is similar to the work of the psychiatrist in the play Equus. So, Jose, I wish you much luck. Again, we invite those that are viewing to check it out. Go to electriccompanytheater.org. And please, if you have an opportunity, listen to the other or view the other podcasts that we've done with each of the 12 actors that will be performing. It's been such a pleasure to have you here today. Jose, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
We'll see you on stage.
Thank you.